Natalie was like, ready. Hey guys, welcome to the Picking Up Your Mat podcast. We're your hosts, Julia
and Natalie, and we're going to be talking about what it looks like to pick up your mat daily and chase after Jesus.
It's kind of crazy to believe that we're actually doing this right now. It was just kind of an idea that we came up with several months ago, and kind of the peak of everybody doing podcasts at the moment. Trying to come up with something that's original and that we are excited about and that we care about. But it's wild that this is happening right now.
Yeah, it was just like an idea a few months ago, and who knows if we were actually gonna like do anything with it. But we're just like, oh, we should start a podcast, talk about God, and now it's like very real. It's coming to life, so it's really cool that we're finally doing it.
Mm-hmm. And this all originally started when we were on a drive to our grandma's house, and she lives like an hour and a half to 2 hours away, depending on traffic. And we were just driving, and the whole time we were talking about what the Lord was doing in our life, and just how we've been studying the Word and different situations that we've been in, and how we've used Jesus to really just to help us, feel peace and comfort and just stable in our life. And what that has looked like as we have grown in our relationship with the Lord. And so we were just in this car on the way to our grandma's house, just talking the whole time about the Lord. And I was kind of like, what if we did a podcast? And it was kind of a joke at first. But we just started talking about it. And then she decided that we would host together. And our whole idea behind this podcast is that, we're picking up our mat together, and like she was saying, some days that's easier than others. And our job here is not to tell you guys exactly how to do it. And we're not telling you it's going to be easy and, things like that. But the biggest thing that we've learned, and the biggest thing that has encouraged us through our journey with the Lord, is just talking with each other about what we're studying, what we're learning, and kind of bouncing off each other, and how we can grow in our individual journeys as we're learning how each of us does that on our own. And our whole goal here is basically to just be vessels and to be used by the Lord to encourage you, whether that is you've been walking with the Lord for years now, or you're just now starting to know what that looks like. Maybe you have no idea what that looks like, and you want to kind of see how we're going about it. And, we want to have other people on to talk about what their journey with the Lord has looked like. And everybody experiences it differently, and everybody goes through different highs and lows of walking with the Lord. And so we kind of want to explore what that looks like for lots of different people on lots of different topics.
Yeah. And we're not saying it's pretty or we're not perfect, and it's never looked perfect, but just, I know, like when I was beginning my journey with God, like really finding Him, and I would have wished I had someone to just be honest about like everything that it looks like to grow with God, and that it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows every single day, and that it's going to be hard, but it's just choosing to pick up your mat every single day and follow Him. And
that's kind of how this whole title for our podcast came to be too. A couple of days ago, I was sitting in a Chili's with my parents, and the title of the podcast is something that we have gone back and forth on for a while now, really since we started seriously discussing if we wanted to do this. And we knew we wanted it to be focused on walking with the Lord every day and what that looks like. And so that's kind of what I was leaning towards in the beginning and what we had discussed, but it wasn't sitting right. I don't know if you feel that way,
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
it just didn't feel like that's what it was meant to be. I feel like when you discover, it's like, oh, that was definitely what it's supposed to be all along, and we just weren't really feeling that at first.
Yeah, and I think like I said, I was sitting in this Chili's with my parents, and I was like spewing off random like podcast titles potentially, and I had a moment where I was just sitting there and like in my head was like, Lord, I don't think that I can like, you know, do this on my own. You're gonna have to give me something. And I started thinking about when Jesus heals the man who's paralyzed, and he's laying on this mat, and Jesus comes over to him and says, you know, do you want to be healed? And this man is convinced that the pool that he's by is going to heal him, but everybody is getting down there before he does. And so Jesus just tells him, pick up your mat and walk and follow me. And the man does. He just picks it up and starts. And I think that's such a good, like a beautiful testimony of this man didn't know who Jesus was, and he didn't know what it looked like to follow him yet, but he decides, I'm just going to start. I'm just going to pick up my mat and I'm going to follow him and I'm going to walk after him. And I think it's a good testimony of how, you know, if you have never walked with the Lord before and you have no idea what that looks like, you can choose today to just pick up your mat and follow after him and walk with him. And it doesn't have to be that you've grown up in church your whole life, or that you've been walking with him for a few years now, but you can literally decide today to just follow after him, even if you don't know what that looks like. I really didn't have a close relationship with the Lord until this year, really. And I'm a pastor's daughter, and I've grown up in church. We're both pastors' daughters, of course, and we have very different stories as well. But yeah, me personally, I haven't had a deep relationship with the Lord until this year. And
I feel like I always wanted to think that I did, but I think growing up in church, it's really easy to convince yourself almost that it's like, oh yeah, I know God, like I have a relationship with God, but it's like you don't really. But I mean, you can, but I didn't. It's like, you know, all the right answers, you know the things like what to say, but you don't actually know him. And but like this year, probably like early this, like February, I really started just diving deeper into the word and just praying and getting closer with him.
And I think a huge part of that for you too was seeing other people's relationship with the Lord.
Absolutely.
And like learning what that looks like, and that gave you kind of a motivation to, from what it seems as like a sister's perspective.
Yeah, I was in like a really weird place at the beginning of this year. I got out of like a not great relationship, and I felt like kind of lost. Like my trust in people was kind of gone. And so it's like when you feel like you have no one, like God is still there for you. So I just continued to just dive deeper with him. I was praying so much more, and I was really experiencing his joy and the peace that he gave me over like my mind and just everything. I got much better relationships, and our relationship grew a lot this year, and just, it was like a 180. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think the thing that even many Christians don't realize is that there's a big difference between knowing and believing in God and truly having a relationship with him. And that, I mean, believing is your first step, like having the faith that you know that you know, Jesus is real that's one thing, but actually establishing a relationship with him is, you know, totally different. And you know, growing up in church, we knew who Jesus was. We believed in him. We had heard about him, but neither of us had a true relationship with him until this year. And once you have that and you've experienced that, and you know the peace and the comfort that the Lord brings, you just want to share that with everyone. And so I think that's our goal behind this, is just to be vessels for the Lord and to share our own experience and how we have seen the Lord work in our lives, and to share that with other people so that they have the potential to experience that as well and to feel what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because there's truly no other feeling like it.
Yeah.
Like just the peace and comfort and everything that the Lord brings.
Yeah. Thank you for watching our podcast. We hope, never mind. We're going to have some guests come for our different episodes, just people to share their stories and experience, like, or share their experiences with the things that they've struggled with, the things that they've gotten through, and just speak about it and kind of spread the word. So I think it'll be fun, but
yeah, we're super excited because we know so much of each other's story,
right.
But to have the opportunity to share that with other people and then to hear more about their stories and to be able to share that with all of you guys, I think it's just going to be beneficial for all of us, for whoever's guesting, for each other, for for all of you guys, just to kind of see what different journeys with the Lord look like, and to hear all of the all of the good things, all of the bad things, and just be honest and be vulnerable about, what life with the Lord truly looks like. But yeah.
It's not pretty.
Not always. No.
But I'm pretty.
Yeah. So we're super excited about this journey together and, with everybody listening. And we just hope that it's impactful and that you learn something, that we learn something through this experience. And
till next time. See you next time.
Peace.
Insert outro music. Mom.
Filler, we don't. We hear it every day.